talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
Yes, we started the show with that report on the care of elderly persons, or who we might want to call older persons. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info, and tomorrow, October 1st, of course, is Independence Day, but it's also the International Day of Older Persons, and we're looking at the care of the elderly. The theme for this year is the journey towards age equality. Sounds really so. What is age equality, and how do we, assess fantastic healthcare for elderly persons, good welfare packages also for them? What can they be doing in their old age? All of this will form a conversation for the next 1 hour. If you're just joining us, you can watch us live on Facebook, on YouTube at Nigeria Info FM. You can also leave us your comment on WhatsApp. The number is 08095 975805, 08095 975805. Let me take that again. 08095 975805. You're welcome. I am Wemimo Adewuni.
And I am Sheriff Quadry. Very lovely morning to you. You can join the conversation on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube as we speak. It's going to be an interesting conversation. If you have an old person at home or in the village, I think it's time to grab a seat or grab a chair. If you're in the office and you have an old person somewhere, just try and listen to us. You don't know what you stand to benefit on the show, but we do know that you stand to benefit a lot on the show this morning. Rotimi Sankore is here with us this morning. Rotimi, good morning to you once again.
Good morning.
And we also have in the studio Dr. Newton Jibuna, is an elderly environmentalist. Dr. Newton, good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here.
We will also have joining us via the phone Dr. Kike Oyekomi. She's a psychiatric doctor, and she'll be talking to us about care for older persons in their old age, issues around their health that you might need to pay attention to, and how to find those symptoms and know what to do. So the International Day of Older Persons is tomorrow, and in 1991, the UN General Assembly adopted the United Nations Principles for Older Persons and made October 1st as a special day for older persons and senior citizens around the world, and to recognize their contributions and examine issues that affect their lives. It's a day to stand against ageism and to promote the development of a society that is hospitable to people of all ages. The theme for this year is the journey to age equality. Issues of human rights for older persons have been taken up since 1991 in the formulation of the United Nations Principles for Older Persons, which provided guidance in the areas of independence, participation, care, self-fulfillment, and dignity. According to the United Nations Population Fund, old people have always played a significant role in society as leaders, caretakers, and custodians of tradition. Yet, they are also highly vulnerable, with many falling into poverty, becoming disabled, or facing discrimination. There is a Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging that breaks down what each country should be doing for older persons and older citizens in each country. Issue of old people's homes, caregivers.
Right.
It's a very sensitive issue in Nigeria. And if you listen to that report we played earlier, I spoke to some people on the road, some who said, God forbid that I put my elder person in a retirement home. I'm going to be a bad child to do that. Others say, well, my parents are just in the village by themselves. We don't want to put them in a retirement home, but they're just by themselves in the village. And at a particular age, these older citizens do need a lot of attention and care.
Dr. Kike Oyekomi joins us via the telephone. Dr. Kike, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here. Let's tell you about the current population of old people in Nigeria. In August 2018, a WHO's article citing the National Population Commission revealed that Nigeria has approximately 9.3 million elderly people aged 60 years and above. The number of elderly people in Nigeria is high, yet little is known about interventions to improve their well-being and welfare. Now, according to the Population Division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Welfare, in 2015, demographic projection indicated that Nigeria will experience a doubling of the population over the age of 65 by the year 2020. That is next year. And do we have plans for them? Can you see plans for them? Do we have deliberate government policies for older people? Are they being neglected? Does anyone even care about old people? These will form our discussion this morning. You're welcome.
Let's start with Dr. Jibuno. I'd like you to share your experience with us. When did you retire, and has it been since retirement? You told us that your home is now a sort of retirement home. Tell us about that.
I retired over 20 years ago. I was in my 60s when I retired.
You're well over your 80s now.
I'm now approaching 82.
Wow.
Okay. And I have a full day. What I have always wanted to avoid is to wake up every morning and not have something to do.
Exactly.
And that's a fear many older persons share.
That is the best way to approach aging.
I agree.
And also aging gracefully.
Right.
My secretary, for instance, didn't know about this program. She would have stopped me because I have a crowded day. So I wake up every day and I have dozens and one thing.
So you dodged your secretary.
I dodged her.
In the manner of saying.
I dodged her because she would have warned me not to. Because I have like
you have a busy day.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's what those aging must take into consideration. What do I do because there's nothing as bad, like I said earlier, waking up and
have nothing to do. It's a fear that I have as a young person. I shared with them.
Yes, we talked about
I said, I have a plan for my retirement. I can't imagine myself being in my 60s and then I just wake up and there's nothing to do. I mean, I feel that's just going to kill me because but you've been doing this over the past 20 years. How did you achieve this? When did you start making the plans as to what you'll be doing later on?
Fortunately, I have always been an explorer, adventurer. I don't think you know that I started by driving my car from London to Nigeria across the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, I heard that story.
If anything,
that's daring. Drove from London to Nigeria. What?
And it's also from Nigeria back to London, and when you explore, there are dozens and things that go with exploration. It keeps your mind working, your soul working, your body working, because you are thinking. And even at this age, I'm still wanting to explore.
Not to drive to London.
Please, Doc. Please don't drive
not to drive to London.
But if I get an invitation tomorrow to go to the space, I will accept such an invitation, because that has been my life since the 60s. I've been wanting to be part of space exploration. I have written many books about exploration. I have done a lot of scientific work on space and the rest of it. And I've been waiting, thinking one day they will see my writings.
I'll invite you to space.
And then they invite me, because you cannot apply to go to the space.
Sir, you must know that Elon Musk has just been announcing over the last few days that his general purpose space vehicle, which they've been testing, the SpaceX, will be ready for commercial flights in the next few months.
So you might want to start making plans.
Maybe I'll apply. But like I said, from my studies and from the activities of those in space exploration, you have to be invited to be able to. So
Doc,
I will wait to see if I get that.
Let's talk about the moment you retired. How did you feel? I've heard so many things about that moment that you are told you are retired, or I have retired. You told yourself I have retired. Yeah. What is the feeling like?
It's difficult for me to answer that because I prepared for it. In fact, when I first issued my notice to my employers that I was retiring, I gave a date. They kind of referred me to my contract that said that I needed to give 3 years
notice
to get to the position I was. I've been as managing director, chief executive of a major big organization. I needed to give 3. So I had to. So they changed my title in order to retain me for another 3 years, from chief executive to just non-executive chairman. And I continued to work. But before then, like I said, I had plans to do more exploration, because at that time I had done just one driving from London to Nigeria.
And you wanted
and
to
I
do
was
more.
preparing to do more on retirement. So I prepared myself. And of course, like I said earlier on, in exploration, there is so much to learn. There is so much to gain. And there is so much research that you do following your exploration.
What your journey highlights is that you are well educated, well
Thank you very
exposed.
much,
Yes, this is what this tells us. However, let's spin this around. There are people who live below poverty level, who, in fact, going to work was just to sustain themselves and their families. Someone told a story yesterday of a man who just retired and was weeping at his retirement service. They thought he was, just excited about, he loved his job. But his siblings shared that he was crying because he didn't have anything to his name and he didn't know what he was going to do thereafter. So we have Nigerians who are absolutely poor. Have you related with any persons who have retired and who fall in this category? How do you compare their lives right now with yours?
Somehow I did come out of that poverty level. I mean, I was poor. Let me say that poverty is just something that. So I find it difficult to refer or to take from other. I mean, it's what you build for yourself that you live in. Like I mentioned earlier on, a few years to my retirement, and I was the one that said at 60, I was, but I wasn't able to do so at 50 because of what I mentioned earlier on. But before that, I had prepared myself because there is nothing, I haven't been a very active person. I like, and then the other thing as well is loneliness.
Right.
I think I heard somebody mention something about that, and living old people in the village and not having. I cannot. I don't like being lonely. I make friends everywhere, all over the world, and I call upon them, and it's also a way of keeping myself fully occupied. I have friends that I have made in the last 50, 60 years that are still my very, very close friends. I talk to them on a regular basis. They come to visit me every time now and then. I put up exhibitions on my explorations and just to invite and have people around.
Wow. So this sounds like a dream retirement. Rotimi, we have a large population of old people. If this report is anything to go by, we should have about 18.6 million older persons by next year.
That's right.
In Nigeria.
Well, the population of older people in this category, retirement, would have even been more. Except, of course, as we always discuss on this program, that Nigeria is in the bottom 3 countries globally that have the lowest life expectancy of under 55. Of all the countries, if you didn't hear, just pull your ear well again. Of all the countries in the world, Nigeria is in the bottom 3 that have the lowest life expectancy globally of under 55. So if that had not been the case, we would have had even more people of retirement age. And even the, sadly, few that we have, and I say very sadly, we are not yet able to look after them. There is no deliberate and clear planning for investment, for instance, in housing for older people. There is no clear and deliberate investment in health issues that affect older people. Even people that are working in the organized private sector, we see the nightmare that they go through to be able to access their pension.
Right.
We are still talking of Nigeria Airways people getting their pension. You know when Nigeria Airways stopped flying? I mean, it is incredible.
PNT.
P&T, that's Post and Telecom for those who are too young. Because now people don't even go to post office, talk less of knowing what P&T is. So all those people are still lining up for pension.
Right.
Humiliating verification after verification. Why people just sit on the money. There is no respect, no regard. Their dignity is being dragged, I mean, it's just incredible. And when you look at the political elites, many of them are in that category. But having captured power, in fact, not just in the past 4, 8 or 16 years, but many of them have been in power since the 1960s and early 1970s. I mean, I read about many of these folks in newspapers, in books, as I went through primary and secondary school, and they are still there. But what they've done is to create a nice feather nest for themselves and forgotten about all the others. And the major downside of this is what they don't pay attention to. In countries where the life expectancy is very easily 79 to 85, what has happened in those countries is that they have a sizable body of people that have accumulated knowledge in science, technology, engineering, maths, philosophy, sociology, economics, business admin, sports, you name it, which they then transfer to the younger generation.
Mentoring, consulting.
So in those countries, every generation, their level of thinking starts from the level where the previous generation was. So, I mean, no surprise when you look at the World Cup, let's just look at sports, it's the same countries dominating consistently. They don't play better football than us, but the organization, the structure, the training, all those things are transferred. Now you talk of technology, all these computers we use, cars. I mean, look at when Benz was invented. And look at everything that it has gone through. You know, electricity, central water management system, a whole lot of things. Climate change is the new test for knowledge. They are investing in climate resilience. Here, I mean, the other day we were just discussing all these issues, and you can see the frustration of our callers as they were calling in. Now, the really dangerous thing is this. Everybody is going to get old.
I mean, that's inevitable.
Everybody, unless, of course, as in Nigeria, before 55, majority are gone. But once you get old, if you are in organized private sector or organized public sector and you don't have access to your pension, there is no retirement home, no investment for health, I mean, it is going to be a nightmare, and these are the things we should be advocating for
from now.
Now that those investments should be made.
Dr. Kike, please stay on the line. We need to go out for a break now. When we return, we'll start with you, Dr. Kike. It's important we get your professional opinion in all of these. Let's go out now on a quick break. I'm Sheriff Quadry. I
am Wemimo Adewuni. Remember to leave us your comments on all of our social media handles: Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info FM, WhatsApp 08095975805. We'll be back shortly.
Your number one talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
Very short break, and we are back as the Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The International Day of Older Persons is tomorrow, October 1st, and the theme for this year is the journey towards age equality. Let's speak with Dr. Kike Oyekomi. And a lot of things come with getting old, which we have all agreed is inevitable, except I saw a research some time ago that by 2045, scientists are developing, is it 2050 or 45? 2050, okay.
You're not there again.
From that time, they're working on cell rejuvenation, and then you might have an option of not dying. Until that.
It's even said now, people are working on technology where you can download your brain.
There you go.
And then put it in...
preserve it.
Not just preserve, it's not just the body. They are working on technology that can help download the brain and put it in either in a clone body or in a cyborg body, which is half machine, so that the knowledge continues even though the body is withering.
Scientists are looking.
I have something against that because you are then interfering with aging. I think it's always best to age gracefully.
Well, human beings are created to explore, and I'm excited about it. But Dr. Kike, let's talk about these diseases associated with getting older. And this is the reason we don't, harvest the knowledge that our older persons have. Generally, Nigerians, human beings just feel once you're old, you're a liability, you're useless, you should just get out of the way, just go sit somewhere and just wait until you die. What are those things that old people exhibit that is just usual for their age, and how can younger persons help them deal with these issues?
Okay. It's natural for for your body systems, for some body systems to decline as one ages. But beyond that, older persons are usually relegated to the background, especially in a climate like ours where there's so much illiteracy concerning so many things. In this environment, a lot of people have the mindset that, once you've crossed a certain age, maybe you are 60 and above, that there are some things you cannot do, which is why the theme for this year's day for the older persons is quite apt. That they are trying to eradicate this age inequality. Ageism. And what it simply means is that the fact that one is old doesn't exclude one from participating socially, economically, and politically. Although in Nigeria we know that the older persons are overrepresented in the political sphere, but when it comes to the general population, socially and economically, they are underrepresented. For example, let me put it this way. If, for example, if Nigeria Info wants to wants to hire some presenters now, I'm sure one of your exclusion criteria will be age. And so, Wemimo, what is wrong in having a 60-year-old presenter? I mean, you would want a younger person.
Rotimi is here.
Be careful.
Rotimi is not 60, So that is age inequality. I'm not saying that.
I'm a commentator. I'm not a
Yeah, but you're on air twice a week.
But I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that age people can do everything, but when you know that they can do some things, you may be intellectual tasks that do not involve maybe physical tasks. Of course, you can't employ older persons where you need a physical prowess. No, that is not what age inequality is talking about. For example, Wemimo, if you are going to the movies, what is wrong in you taking along your 70-year-old grandma? What is wrong?
Right.
You will say that
somehow we just feel they can't understand the sci-fi movies.
Exactly. That is age inequality. Anyway, back to what you
the health issues.
Yes, there are some chronic conditions that a lot of people are vulnerable to as they age. And these conditions include things like what a lot of people already know, things like hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, dementia, arthritis, cancer, and other chronic diseases. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know this. For example, let me narrow down to dementia because I'm a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
A lot of times when old people start forgetting, when they start becoming forgetful, a lot of people think that forgetfulness is the same thing as getting old. But that is not quite true. Yes, it's normal for you to have some cognitive decline as you age. But when you start forgetting things and you start finding it difficult to get by in your daily tasks, and then what I'm saying is that any type of forgetfulness that significantly affects your daily functioning is not a normal forgetfulness. So people should know that senility is not equal to forgetfulness. And it's not all forgetfulness that is equal to dementia. So if you have an older person who is now forgetful, who does not seem to remember some familiar information, who finds it difficult to do things that hitherto he or she was able to do without effort, then don't assume, don't just put that person in the village. Don't just look for a carer for that person and say, oh, mama is getting old, oh, papa is getting old. The fact that somebody is old does not mean that the quality of life one is living should diminish. Right. So if you have an older person that has any of these symptoms, it is very, very good. I mean, it is very, very safe.
Dr. Kike, very quickly, I needed to touch on this. What effect does loneliness have on old people?
Loneliness is a very, very severe stress. Not even on older persons, across our lifespan. Because we are social animals, we are very social as human beings. So we need the company of each other. And it is unfortunate that, as people age and their children leave the houses, it is assumed that, well, now they are old now. This is there's nothing wrong if mama is living alone. But loneliness would shorten one's lifespan. Loneliness is very, very stressful, and it would even further increase the risk of even coming down with any of these chronic illnesses. So loneliness is not good for anybody.
I just say that Dr. Kika is right. There is a new body of research from the World Health Organization on this.
Right. Let's also highlight that what I've realized in doing that report, one of the things people do is either to go put their older persons in the village or to bring them to the city, give them a room, just leave them there by themselves, go out to hustle, the children go to school, they go to work, and just come back to them in the evening, give them dinner, and just wheel them back into their rooms. I mean, that's still being lonely. I mean, you're not interacting with them, they're not being engaged. One of the things the other persons I spoke to also mentioned is that there aren't enough parks, in cities where they could stroll to and have gathering of other older persons.
Look at go to Japan and China. You see the old people or older people
taking a walk together.
Not just there, doing all sorts of exercises. Aerobics, martial arts, they ride bicycles.
Yes.
I mean, I dare any older person to ride a bicycle on a Lagos road.
Even a younger person would know how to try that. It's really risky.
Stop from doing that by my children. I was doing it actually. But you raised a very interesting question, which Doctor talked about loneliness. Loneliness is the biggest, crisis. I call it crisis because it is a serious one. In those days, people retire and they go back home to the village and they have a farm. And I have people in my village that are in their 90s and they still go to farm.
Right.
So they engage themselves.
That's where the issue of this retirement age thing comes to play. I don't see the sense in saying to people that at 50-something,
you stop working.
Haven't done 30-something years, you must stop working. Especially in the service. Take diplomats, take even scientists, take soldiers or those in the military. If you know the amount of money that is spent in training them, in bringing them to the position where they are today, only to say to them at 50, you must go. Where do they go? What do they go with? Because if you now combine that age, like you mentioned about the experience, or doctor mentioned, the experience that goes with age, and you put them into industry, into development, you come up with wonderful results. Because I have worked with aged people. I still have people in their 60s and 70s still working on research. So that's the point, that we tend to, destroy the very foundation with which we
ageism is a very strong issue, big issue, especially in workspaces. I saw a tweet which I shared with the team of a 55-year-old man whose life dream has always been to be a programmer. Life happened; he had to go do some other job.
Computer programming.
Yes, computer programming. He finally studied computer programming, learned stacks. Now, no company is willing to hire him because
he's old.
He's 55.
Go outside the country, especially in some African, meaning Kenya. You find in broadcasting, I mean, the last time I was interviewed in Nairobi, I was interviewed by a 78-year-old man.
Wow.
Can you then imagine the intellect he came into that job with, plus the age experience
and the mentoring you would have done for those coming behind.
So when you put those two
guys,
together,
you better keep me. Today's
going to be a fantastic day for Rotimi. We're the most excited. But let's talk about the older people's homes in Nigeria. While I was working on that report, I spoke to about 6 old people's homes. Lagos State government also has one in Yaba. I think they have about 2 or thereabout. They weren't very open about talking about it then. But there are privately owned homes, some religious houses also running homes. But Nigerians seem to have an aversion for putting older persons, in homes. It looks, the feedback I got was my parents took care of me in their house.
Right.
Putting them away is making me a bad child, and is just letting go of my parents. But what I've discovered is what a home should be is that these older persons have other older persons around them. There is 24 hours care for them. Their day is scheduled with activities, with fun and games.
Right.
But Dr. Kike, have you worked in any way with older persons who are in homes versus those who are just there? Is there an improvement in their mental health?
Definitely. Traditionally in Africa, we have this mentality that, this family thing, we have this traditional mentalities that you have to take care of your parents, of your grandparents, which is a very, very good type of mentality. But now, because of the necessities of modern life now, a lot of people have to work, they have to leave homes, so it makes old people's homes inevitable. So there is really nothing wrong, if you know that you don't have the time, you have to work, you have to make money. So there's really nothing wrong in taking your grandma or your mom to an old people's home, provided that they would take care of us very, very well. There are some very, very ugly old people's home in Nigeria that I can never put even my great-grandfather.
Yeah, where a lot of abuse is also going on.
Right. Exactly. In Nigeria. But old people's homes, they are coming up. The business is coming up in Nigeria because definitely, like I said, we are social beings. And an old person being in the midst of other old persons would also help, to reduce stress. This friendship, this communal living and everything goes a long way in helping health conditions, reducing health symptoms and even increasing longevity. Right. So it really helps,
Right.
Dr. Nitin, what's your take about old people's home?
I hope Dr. will not, I am totally against it.
Oh, why?
Something to do with our culture or my culture. If you mention something like this in the part of the country where I come from, they will push you away because there is that something embedded in the culture of it, where you are your brother's keeper, where you are a community, where you have communal events and activities. I mean, there is nothing wrong in having it in an urban center like Lagos, because it's maybe because I'm old-fashioned, I will not, of course my parents went a long time ago, I will not think of doing that, because in our communal way of life, in our way of living, we know how to take, even when you don't have children. Say somebody retires or is no longer able to do something at age 70, 80 and upwards, there will always be somebody. There will always be a family member
who then stays with them.
Yes, and that's why I talked about friendship earlier on. There will always be a friend that can, take care of things. So bringing this whole, for me, it is very foreign. I mean, I've traveled a lot, yes, and I've learned a lot. But having old people's home like you have in Europe and some other civilized countries, I will not advise.
Many Africans are also averse to this. However, our reality is that many people don't have enough time to stay with their older person.
Things are changing.
Yeah, that's the reality. And the loneliness that we try to avoid then sets in. Before we head to the phones, Rotimi, we have a policy. You like never to call it a policy, but we have a draft on paper, yes, which is the National Policy on Care and Welfare of Older Persons. It's been in draft form since 2003. It's not been enacted. It's not been implemented. Shouldn't there be a breakdown of policy at federal, state and local government level, especially at local government levels?
Deliberate policy.
Deliberate to take care of these. If we don't want older persons' homes, the other alternative would be to have a body that plans engagement for these people, where they can come in. Some companies also do outsourcing, care. So you have doctors come to your house, caregivers come to your house, and they leave. Can't we have the government also look into this?
Well, in all the advanced countries that I have either worked in, traveled to, or otherwise, I mean, the first line in what you are talking about is the pension plan. And that's why I was saying earlier that, I mean, the idea that people are still struggling to get their pension 10, 15, 20 years after they worked for it.
I mean, they're not asking for a favor. They work for it.
It is criminal. I have never seen in my life before such disrespect. I try to think of myself as a tough guy. Anytime I see those queues of people in their 70s and 80s,
with their walking stick,
tears start to gather in my eyes, and I'm thinking, what kind of criminal government official is sitting somewhere telling people at that age to come and queue to be verified for work that they have done, for money that has been taken from them? And that's the first line. Now, we're not even yet talking of those that are outside the organized sector. Because even for those people, financial products need to be initiated for them. And for the majority of young people now that are outside the organized sector, this is the time when those financial products should be put out. Now, when that is done, so that at least you have some resources when you are no longer working, then the policy, a proper policy, not the paper, can then
have a lot of paper.
Can then talk about clear planning for housing, healthcare. Look, is it in this country where there is no centralized water system that old people are going to be fetching water? I mean, how is that going to happen?
You climb down the stairs to pull up a bucket of water.
Old people will be going to put gen on, or going to buy fuel, or going to, so that deliberate policy to ensure. And when we say housing estate, we are not talking of 9-story building.
Exactly.
I mean, the houses have to be well planned, well designed inside. I mean, not everybody's like Dr. Jibuno, to be quite frank.
Who can still move around, I mean.
So that you can go about in the house without any danger of tripping over, falling over. Even the shower, the bathtub, everything is designed in such a way.
Personalized.
Yes, for older people. Such a policy. And quite frankly, we are talking of billions. Billions of naira.
And the easy answer to you would be the government would say we don't have money for that.
Yes, but as I've always said, this for the same government, the senior officials, they live in free houses, they eat free food, they have free car, they have free fuel, they have free medical expense, and when they are about to retire, as we've pointed out severally, they then put in plan all this pension plan that pays them 200-300 million a year, plus free house, plus free health, plus free everything, and then they change job from governor to senator, and then they get another 14 million a month.
We need to head to the phone lines. But Dr. Kike, I need a very short answer. Do we have free medical care for old people?
At all.
We don't have.
There's nothing like that. Though some state governments do periodicals, free medical care for old people, just periodicals, but there's nothing that is on ground. There's nothing sustainable.
Probably just a checkup. Come over and check yourself. No continuous monitoring.
The old age pensioners need to be a priority in this country. And let me just make a quick joke for you guys. Quickly. See, when I was growing up, when they say OAP, that was old age pensioner. I'm telling you, I was stunned. So I was outside the country for a long time. When I came back, private radio had kicked off, and I started seeing all you guys OAP. I was like, what's happening?
Guys, here are the numbers. You can join the conversation now.
On 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
All right, this is Nigeria Info. We are listening. Let's get to the phones quickly.
Right.
Quickly, we have Vincent.
Vincent is here from Apapa. Vincent, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody in the studio.
Morning.
You know, you guys are dreaming mega big there. But if somebody call Nigeria more or less a fair environment, the person is not making mistakes. Those things you guys are dreaming here, even the younger ones and the ones ever now, we're not talking of the old, there is no preparation. As we speak now, this place is in an autopilot. First things first, the fundamentals. Let us start now to agitate for ordinary simple election.
Okay.
When we get that one right, then we start from there.
All right,
from
Vincent.
there. Thank you very much,
Vincent, for calling. Appreciate your time.
Right.
That's right. Let's see who this. Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. My
Yes.
name is Lola Day.
Welcome,
Calling
Lola.
From Ikoyi.
Welcome, Lolade.
Good to have you join the show.
Thank you. So I just had some thoughts. I was thinking maybe instead of an old people's home that's like a residency, maybe the local governments can work on having like a school. So maybe you drop your older people in the morning.
Right.
They can hang out with other older people, medical personnel on ground. They can learn skills. You know, and then in the evenings you come pick them up and take them home. There's the option of
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
I absolutely think
Makes
that
sense,
would
Lolade.
work.
Great.
The point is to have them engaged
Yeah, right,
during the day
right.
and be able to relate with other older persons.
Let's look at Friday. Good morning, Friday.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah. I just have two things to say. One, like those of us that come from the village. See, Wemimo, you can remember a certain time in January when I was saying that I wanted to bring my
Your
mother
mom,
to
yes.
Lagos. Yeah.
Yes.
We find it very difficult bringing her to Lagos. She's in her late 80s and she still goes to the farm. But thank God that at a time she falls sick. And when the sickness
thank
was
God for
that
that.
serious, yes. If not for that sickness, she will not be in Lagos today. Some of these old
That's why you
people,
thank
they don't
God,
want to live there. They don't want to leave that village.
But
where they are.
what's she doing in Lagos now? I hope she's not just sitting at home.
No, she's in Lagos now. She's with my elder sister.
What does she
She's
do
with-
during the day?
She just walk around sometimes.
Okay.
Just sit down,
Just to keep
talk
fit.
with
You
my
see why
sister.
she didn't want to come to Lagos? She would rather be active than sit.
No,
That's it.
sometimes, like the last long holiday, I took my children there. They played with her for almost 2-3 weeks. She was very happy.
Exactly.
She was very happy. during that
But
period.
she needs to be engaged,
Right.
though. Friday, thanks for calling.
Thank
Oladipo is calling us from a relay. Hello, Oladipo. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody in the studio.
Good morning.
I just want to tell you that you are doing a very, very great job.
Thank you.
My take is this. What this government needs to do is beyond this pension stuff. Those guys there are wicked. That is just the word I will use. They are very wicked. Come and see what they do. So the solution is this. As those men are working and they are taking those money from them, let them give them access to be able to access their money as at the time when due.
Right.
Thank
right.
you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank
We have
you,
a comment
Oladipo.
on WhatsApp from Shegun who says, please, how can we know of good old people's homes? I am 71 years old and I think it would suit my circumstances. So you can do a quick search. There are quite a number of them. But I'd advise you investigate. I know there are some proper ones, might be a bit pricey, but there are some in Lagos and they're doing fantastic work. Or you might want to look at
And
the
then,
option. Yes, doctor.
Go on, Doc.
We have
Oh.
Dr. Kike. Sorry, we can't hear you. Might also look at the option of the caregiver coming home in the morning, waiting till evening when your family members return or leave. You can look at these
and please
options.
do your due diligence before you invite
But there are
to come to the house.
There are
It's very
agencies who
important.
do this, and you can investigate. Some of them are registered, and you can check them out.
Let's quickly speak to John. John, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Adewuni and Rotimi and everyone in the studio.
Welcome.
It's quite an interesting topic.
Thank you.
Quickly, I wanted to say is that what our legislators, what are they doing? You know, I feel there should be a legislation, a bill passed at least with some certain age, maybe 75 or 8. May every family in Nigeria just register, and there should be a monthly, welfare given to old age people.
Right.
Because from what our guest is saying, is it Jibun or who?
Yes, Dr. Jibun.
It should be from my area, maybe from that side. Exactly. So, yes, there's nothing like family bonding. These home people's homies, maybe it's a modern thing, but they should do it on family basis. The whole family in Nigeria, if you have somebody who is 80 years, they place you on payroll and take care of you medically and whatever. Because there's a blessing that follows it too. It will take care of our old age spiritually.
All right, John.
Right. Thank you. But many times it's beyond just sending them money and buying them.
They need company.
They need company, and they need to be engaged actively.
And the state has a role to play.
Absolutely.
We
Not just
also need
individuals.
to tap into their wisdom.
Wealth of knowledge.
With the kind of contribution they can make to
we lose a lot by not engaging with older
persons.
persons.
70, 18 and upwards, they have so much to
offer.
I interact with quite a lot, my age mates especially, and I see how important they are, the way, the contributions they make to various aspects of our development.
We miss a lot.
We waste them.
Right.
In the process.
We miss a lot. We must go now. Dr. Kike Oyekomi, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Dr. Newton Jibuna, you inspire us. 82 looks good on you. He's an elderly environmentalist. He's got his day full every day, very active. Thank you for joining the show and coming out very early too. Rotimi Sankore. Someone said on WhatsApp, leave my Rotimi for me. I will send that in on WhatsApp.
Nigeria at 59.
Tomorrow, and we'll be having Ajuri Ngalele, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs. He was to join us today, but we moved it over to tomorrow. So you can ask him all the questions about Nigeria at 59 and what the government has done in the past years.
Someone asked me, is Nigeria at retirement age?
Should Nigeria go to the elderly people's homes? Well, Nigeria, that's the show. Big thanks to Tosi Akinride, Yvonne Hoffo, and also Zainab Yakin for assisting.
Right.
I am Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry. We are back tomorrow as early as 6 a.m. You should join us. It's always interesting to start your day with Morning Crossfire.